if it hasn't cost you anything, is it really worth anything? That's what discipleship really comes down to. Discipleship isn't really easy. It's something we like to talk about a lot these days, but until we really put in the time, put in the effort, we may not understand what discipleship really is. I came across discipleship about 7 years ago, and it's something that was always one of the topics people talked about. You put discipleship in with like the spiritual disciplines, right? Like with prayer and fasting and worship and giving, and like discipleship was one of those. But then I came across John chapter 17. And in John chapter 17, Jesus is talking to God the Father, and he says, I have finished the work. I have brought you glory on earth by finishing the work that you gave me to do. But Jesus hasn't died on the cross yet. He hasn't overcome death and sin yet. He hasn't returned to life yet. He hasn't gone and sent the Holy Spirit yet. So what actually has Jesus done? I think what he's saying here in John chapter 17, especially in the context, that he is saying, I have finished the work with these guys that you have given me. I have made mature, great disciples out of them, and I've also created some leaders so that we can set the church up for success for generations to come. And I see this because when you look in the context, Jesus is saying his prayers and he prays to God and he sort of thanks him and tells him what he has finished. And then he goes on and he prays for his disciples. And after he says in John chapter 17 that in verse 4 that I have brought you glory on earth by finishing the work that you have given me to do, he goes on in verse 6 and says, I have revealed you to those whom you gave me out of the world, that they were yours, and they gave them to me, and have obeyed your word. Now they know that everything you have given to me comes from you, for I gave them the words that you gave me. He's talking about the disciples. He's saying, I have taken them, I have given them everything that you have given me that they can do. I have educated them, I have loved them, I've shown them how to care for people, I've given them the power to cast out demons and spirits and heal people. I have done everything that you have given me to do. And when I look at discipleship in that perspective, it changes everything. If Jesus was sent to make disciples, and we are supposed to be followers of Jesus, shouldn't we also be making disciples? And if we are making disciples the way that Jesus made disciples, it's not by sitting in a classroom. It's not just by educating us intellectually. It is about making sure that we are in proximity to them. We have got to spend close, intentional time with people so that we can see where they're strong and where they're weak. It's like evaluating as a coach. I got to see where their weaknesses are so I can make them better there, and I got to see where their strengths are so I can grow those even more. That's what Jesus did with his guys. That's why he chose 12, and then he chose 3 and said, okay, these guys, I'm going to press in on a little bit more. I'm going to give a little bit more time. I'm going to stretch them a little bit more. I'm going to allow them to see things other people just don't see. Why? Because they've got a little bit more. Because they are the leaders who will take the church and found the church and set us up for the future. So when you're looking at discipleship, I think that if you are called by God, if you are following Jesus, discipleship isn't an option. It is the thing that we need to be doing. It is the foundation of what our faith should be. All of our love should come out and be shown in the way that we care for people and love people. And that's the way Jesus did discipleship. He did it in relationships. So I hope that this understanding of discipleship helps you out a little bit more, maybe completes the picture for you a little bit more. We'll be talking about discipleship a little bit more as these videos go on, so I hope you stay with us. If you're in Greensboro, North Carolina, and you'd like to hear more about this relational discipleship that Jesus modeled, come see me at Catalyst Church at 10 a.m. on Sunday mornings, and I'll save you a seat.